Step outside in early December 2025, and you were hit by a sudden, biting cold. No warning, no gentle transition. Across Canada, winter didn't creep in, it crashed down, forcing everyone to dig out their warmest gear weeks ahead of schedule. Temperatures plunged from the prairies to the Atlantic, delivering a chill more typical of January than December. The psychological shift was immediate. One day, jacket weather. The next, a deep freeze that united Canadians in collective shivers. This dramatic start raises a question. Is this the new normal, or just a freak event? As we explore the forces behind this frigid entrance, we're reminded of the wild, unpredictable spirit of Canadian weather. The last week of November 2025 felt like a final gift of autumn, mild, pleasant, and deceiving. Then, December arrived, and the atmosphere flipped. A massive surge of Arctic air shoved aside the warmth in a matter of days. In cities like Toronto, temperatures dropped up to 20 degrees Celsius almost overnight. Suddenly, daily routines became battles against stinging winds and icy sidewalks. The frost line plunged south, even reaching northern Florida, a clear sign of a major pattern shift. The warm, southerly flow was cut off, replaced by a direct pipeline from the Arctic. This wasn't just a cold snap, it was a full-scale atmospheric takeover, locking in the deep freeze. The first week of December became a test of endurance, not festive cheer. To truly grasp the origins of this intense cold, we have to look far to the north, toward the mysterious polar vortex. This swirling, ever-present pool of frigid air sits high above the Arctic, encircling the North Pole like a frozen crown. It's a powerful force, shaping the weather patterns not just in the Arctic, but across the entire northern hemisphere. Under normal circumstances, a strong, fast-moving jet stream acts as a barrier, keeping this bitter cold locked away in the far north. But in late November, something extraordinary happened. A sudden stratospheric warming event. This rare phenomenon sent a shockwave through the upper atmosphere, disrupting the delicate balance and setting the stage for dramatic changes. As the vortex weakened, the once stable jet stream began to wobble and twist, no longer able to contain the Arctic air. A massive lobe of this polar air broke free, surging southward and settling over central and eastern Canada. The result was a dramatic and sudden plunge in temperatures felt by millions. It was as if someone had left the Arctic's freezer door wide open, allowing the cold to spill out unchecked. The icy air poured over the land, transforming familiar landscapes into scenes of deep winter almost overnight. This wasn't just a fleeting cold front passing through. Instead, it was a vast, stubborn air mass, an unyielding presence that settled in and refused to move. Day after day, the cold lingered, bringing relentless snow and wind. The displaced polar vortex became the dominant force in our weather, pushing storm tracks further south and ensuring a continuous flow of Arctic air. Each new system reinforced the chill, making it feel as though winter had tightened its grip and wouldn't let go. The cold was relentless, seeping not just across the surface, but deep into the atmosphere. Rivers and lakes froze solid, trees sparkled with frost, and the air itself seemed to crackle with icy energy. The behavior of the polar vortex is the key to understanding our winter. When it weakens and wobbles, it opens the door to classic, bone-chilling Canadian cold. Cold that tests our endurance and shapes our daily lives. This year, the polar vortex delivered its full force, unleashing a winter that will be remembered for its intensity, its persistence, and the way it transformed the landscape into a frozen world. While the polar vortex brought the cold, another player was at work far away. La Niña in the Pacific Ocean. La Niña cools the equatorial Pacific, shifting global weather patterns, including the jet stream over North America. During La Niña, the jet stream dips south over central and eastern Canada, creating a superhighway for Arctic air. This winter, a moderate La Niña set the stage for early cold, making a deep freeze more likely. The pattern favors a trough over Hudson Bay, gathering and reinforcing cold air. La Niña didn't cause the cold directly, but it steered the jet stream perfectly to channel Arctic air our way. The combination of a weakened polar vortex and active La Niña stacked the deck for a classic Canadian winter. December's deep freeze was a textbook result of these two forces working together. Another crucial factor was a blocking pattern over Greenland, a massive, stationary high-pressure system. This phenomenon, known as the Greenland Block, is a rare but powerful feature in the world of meteorology. When it forms, it can dramatically alter weather patterns across the northern hemisphere, acting as a stubborn roadblock in the atmosphere. The high-pressure system essentially parks itself over Greenland, refusing to budge for days or even weeks at a time. This Greenland Block forced the jet stream to dive south over Canada, creating a deep trough for Arctic air to pour in. The jet stream, which usually flows in a more gentle, wavy pattern, was sharply redirected. This allowed frigid air from the Arctic to surge much farther south than usual, reaching areas that rarely see such extreme cold. The block didn't just nudge the jet stream, it completely reshaped it, setting the stage for a dramatic weather event. The block acted like a wall, trapping cold air and preventing milder Pacific air from sweeping in. With nowhere to go, the cold air pooled and intensified, settling into valleys, cities, and open plains alike. Even as the days passed, the block's grip remained unyielding, making it impossible for warmer air to break through. Day after day, the high stayed put, locking the cold in place and cutting off any hope of a quick thaw. Snow piled up, ice thickened, and the landscape remained frozen in time. The persistent high-pressure system meant that even brief warm-ups were out of reach, and the cold became a defining feature of daily life. The result, a relentless siege of winter, not just a passing chill. Streets became impassable, daily routines were upended, and communities braced for a cold that seemed to have no end in sight. The Greenland Block transformed what could have been a typical cold snap into a prolonged and punishing event. Lakes froze early, frost reached far south, and the cold became a daily reality. Even regions unaccustomed to harsh winters found themselves grappling with ice and snow. The effects rippled far beyond the Arctic, touching lives and landscapes hundreds of miles away. This setup, a Greenland block and deep trough, is a classic recipe for severe cold outbreaks. Meteorologists watch for these patterns because they signal the potential for extraordinary and long-lasting cold. When the block and trough align, the results can be both dramatic and widespread. It didn't just bring the cold, it held it in place. Day after day, the same frigid air lingered with little relief in sight. The persistence of the Greenland block meant that communities had to adapt to a new, harsher normal as the cold refused to let go. The Greenland block was the final piece that turned potential into a widespread, deeply felt freeze. It was the atmospheric domino that set everything else in motion, ensuring that this cold outbreak would be remembered for its intensity and its stubborn, unyielding grip. Every Canadian winter has a milestone, a moment that marks the true arrival of the season's harshest days. For many, it's the first official -40°C reading, a number that's become almost legendary in the national psyche. It's a rite of passage, a shared experience that unites Canadians from coast to coast, whether they're bracing for the cold in the far north, or watching the mercury drop from the comfort of their southern homes. In 2025, this milestone arrived early. On December 7th, near Yellowknife in the Northwest Territories, the landscape was transformed overnight, blanketed in snow and swept by biting winds, as the temperature plunged to a bone-chilling low. But this temperature isn't just a number on a screen, it's a warning, a signal that nature's most unforgiving side is here. At -40, the air itself feels heavy, and every breath stings with cold. At this extreme, exposed skin can freeze in just minutes, and even the hardiest infrastructure is pushed to its limits. Pipes burst, vehicles struggle to start, and daily routines are upended as communities adapt to the relentless cold. For northern communities, this is a familiar challenge. One they meet with resilience and resourcefulness year after year. For the rest of Canada, it's a headline that signals winter's true arrival, a reminder that the season's fiercest days are still ahead. The first -40 marks the point where winter becomes a force to be reckoned with, demanding respect and preparation from everyone. It's when blizzards can sweep in without warning, and even the most routine tasks become a test of endurance. This year, the coldest air began its journey in the western Arctic, gathering strength before sweeping southeast across the country. Driven by powerful atmospheric patterns, it shaped the national freeze, connecting distant regions under a single icy front. Even if most Canadians never feel -40 firsthand, its arrival is a collective signal, a reminder that the deep freeze is here and that winter's grip is unyielding. Across the country, people shovel snow, bundle up and gather indoors, finding warmth in community and tradition. It's a stark announcement that the heart of Canadian winter has begun to beat, echoing through frozen forests, across icy lakes, and into every home that faces the long, cold months ahead. The early December cold snap hit central and eastern Canada hardest, where the setup was perfect for relentless chill. In the prairies, even seasoned locals were surprised by wind chills near -30. Sundogs in Alberta and early lake freeze-ups in Ontario and Quebec were vivid signs of the deep cold. Lakes that usually stay open until late December iced over quickly, showing this was no fleeting event. December is always volatile, but this year's flip from warmth to deep freeze was especially dramatic. Even as the east froze, the west saw snow and rain, a reminder of Canada's regional weather diversity. From the prairies to the Pacific, the same pattern delivered wildly different outcomes. This patchwork of winter experiences is a hallmark of Canadian weather. With such a cold start, everyone's asking, will this deep freeze last all winter? Long-range forecasts suggest the cold pattern will dominate early, but a shift may come by mid-winter. The polar vortex, currently weak and displaced, is expected to recover and retreat north, tightening the jet stream and cutting off the Arctic air supply. As this happens, milder Pacific air could push into eastern Canada, changing the character of winter. Instead of relentless cold, we might see more storms, snow, and even rain, as the pattern becomes more volatile. The current deep freeze will likely hold through December and early January, but a thaw is possible later. The atmosphere is always changing. A cold start doesn't guarantee a cold finish. Canadians can hope for relief, but winter's story is far from over. December 2025 has been a lesson in the raw power and unpredictability of Canadian weather. A weakened polar vortex, persistent La Niña, and stubborn Greenland Block combined to unleash a historic deep freeze. This dramatic start is the essence of Canadian winter: unpredictable, extreme, and always surprising. Patterns change, and the cold may give way to storms or milder spells, but the volatility remains. Navigating winter here is about resilience, preparation, and finding beauty in the extremes. The season's story is still unfolding, and one thing is certain: Canadian winter will continue to challenge and fascinate us. Until the last snowflake melts, expect the unexpected.